So welcome for another edition of Conversations Over Dinner. We have everybody in the cut. Everybody's here. Everybody's ready to go. Today's topic is actually going to be self-love. How does that look? How do we express it? How do we feel about it? What that looks like for each of us. We all have a different way of expressing it and a different way of feeling it. So, anybody want to take first shot at what self-love is, or give their own definition, or how do you know it? How do you feel it? How do you know you love yourself?
I think that's a good question. How do you know that you love yourself? And I think for me personally, I know that I love myself when I'm not putting myself through unnecessary stress. Whenever I'm not putting myself through unnecessary problems, because I think sometimes when we're not loving ourselves, we get into this habit of doing things not for self. And when we're doing things not for self in excess, it ends up becoming a thing where we're stressing ourselves, we're stressing our body, we're stressing our mental, and then it puts us in a situation where we might feel like, yeah, I love myself, but we're not showing it through our actions. So for me, when I'm super stressed and I'm not dealing with it properly, when I'm doing more for others than I'm doing for myself and my family, I feel like those are the times when I've been able to identify that I'm not showing myself as much love personally.
So how do you do that from, like, what does that look like? I'm gonna push you on it because I feel like, what does that look like? What do you do for self that makes you know that
I'm loving myself? You know what? I'd say giving myself personal time, because obviously as an employed person, as a father, as a husband, sometimes those things time can be a very hard commodity to come by. But when I can put time aside for myself to do things like that I enjoy doing, like watching sports, right? Or taking a drive to clear my head after a long day, rather than staying in the house where other things can get me riled up, putting myself in a position where I'm not going to be stressed. And I think also beyond that, one of the other things for me personally that I show self-care to myself is being able to reassure myself that I'm doing well. Because I think one of the biggest acts of, I guess, self-hate that I do is you're not doing enough. You're not working hard enough. You're not a good enough husband. You're not good enough dad. You're not good enough this, right? It's just you're not good enough. And when a lot of that is happening, when the you're not good enough is happening, I have to remind myself that you are doing good enough. You are doing well. You are handling things okay. And then I have to really remind myself of that and give myself a little bit of kudos. You know what I mean? Because I find, at least myself as a man, I'm very tough on myself when it comes to certain things. So I'd say for me that's what that looks like.
What I got from that would be like, give yourself time. Time to love yourself, time to really get into yourself and do what you like to do. I mean, I think time is a huge thing for all of us, but I mean, I like that point. David, Calvin,
I'd say to expound upon what Rob said, just like betting on yourself too, like trusting your own decision. Because a part of that stress that we feel a lot of times that comes from the self-hate is it's other people's stress. It's us trying to help other people and not helping ourselves sometimes. I started doing it where you sit down and look at the list of things that are like on your mind or on your chest, and you're like, only like 10% of that is actually mine. The other 10% are other people's problems that I'm just carrying with me. So I think self-love is just being able to put their problems aside and be like, yo, I gotta take some time for myself. And the thing is, when there are certain people that you'll tell that and they'll respect it and they'll be like, cool, you know what? And certain people are like, no, and that's where sometimes they put that pressure on you, but you still gotta just circle back, come back and say, yo, if I need this time, I need this time. But to add on to what you were saying, and I started to see it as I started to become more of an entrepreneur, is betting on yourself, man.
100%.
It's literally like, you're gonna have resources, you're gonna have networks, you're gonna have funds, but it's not until you put it in yourself and say whether there's like wins or loses or there's a lesson there, then it's on me. So that to me, like, loving yourself is betting on yourself and knowing that the outcome is still unknown.
What if I get betting on yourself? What if the outcome isn't guaranteed?
Then at least,
in life, nothing is guaranteed.
Then at least I can say that was my decision.
So
I can't blame nobody.
Have that responsibility that, you know what, I bet on myself, but it was my decision 100%. Whether I win, I fail, whether I have some successes or a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess trusting yourself.
Trusting your opinion.
Trusting yourself, trusting, and that's part of self-love. Sometimes we might defer to others when we really like know that we're the
Trust our
best.
instinct.
The
Yeah.
best at what we're doing. I mean,
It's
I
facts.
Agree. I agree with that.
Legit.
Yeah.
So with me, I feel like it's another thing about being like practical. I think about practicality. Like, yeah, like give some time for yourself, you know, and show some love to yourself. But how do you do that in a practical sense, right? It's about like. So with me, personally, I'm a person that like I like to do things for people. I find joy in that, right? Making somebody happy. But one thing I realize is like I can't really do it. Like I can't be given from an empty container. You know what I mean? Like I have to make sure, say, okay, am I okay physically, mentally? You know what I mean? Putting time aside. So like if I'm gonna do something for somebody, if I have an itinerary for my day, what out of that day? Like, what am I doing for myself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What joy am I getting out of this whole day, right? And it also helps you to put things into perspective too, right? What am I doing for my wife? What am I doing for my kids to come? You know what I mean? Like, it helps you to actually do things on a day-to-day basis so that we kind of avoid that low feeling that, you know what I mean? It's practical. You know what I mean?
Being practical. So I mean, I guess it's kind of different from because he's saying he's finding joy in others and it kind of helps him find joy in himself.
And sorry, to that point, I think that for people who are naturally givers or doers, it's like that. And that's why sometimes, for me, it's almost like it's hidden because I do find same way. I find joy in doing things for other people. I'm a person that if it's within my power to do, I'm gonna say yes. If it's somebody that's close to me and whatnot, and that does bring me joy because I believe that, you know, when you have in abundance, you should give to others.
Right.
However, I caught myself getting into a habit where, people realize that and they take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And when other people start to take advantage of it and you don't see it, it's going against that self-love. Because, and then unfortunately that is, you know, kind of snowballs into another issue, which is, are you really somebody who cares for me as much as you say you do if you're taking advantage of my kindness, knowing that it's stretching me thin? You know what I mean?
And that goes back to your first point when you first said, right? It's like, you have to be, again, like I said, being practical about people who you're around. You know what I mean? If you feel like those people are taking advantage of you or pretty much just taking advantage of you, these are probably people that you don't really need in your circle,
100%.
right? My thing is, as much as I do like doing things to people, right, there has to be some type of reciprocation. You know what I mean? So, again,
What if it's your family though? And you can't remove them from the
Man,
circle.
yo, listen.
you know what I mean? It's just one of those situations. Like, yeah, I'm real. I come to you straight. It is what it is.
As it should be.
And yeah, and that's part of showing love to yourself too, right? Being able to defend yourself and show yourself like, yo, this is not working out. So we have to figure things out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I hear it. So I got time with Rob. I got betting on yourself, taking risks over here with Calvin. David says practicality.
Mr. Moore.
Brother Moore.
What are you saying about self-love? What are you saying about self-love?
For me, I think my foundation, and this is gonna sound messed up, but my foundation of self-love is selfishness. It's knowing to put you, kind of like what you're saying, knowing to put yourself first.
Okay.
In every situation, knowing that, you know, like, you ask me to do something, yeah, I want to do it, but I have to assess the situation and say what's in it, not necessarily what's in it for me, but this is the best outcome for me. Okay. What am I doing for you that's going to benefit me? Because at the end of the day, you're wearing yourself thin if you continue to do things for other people and to live for other people. You want to do things that benefit you at the end of the day and then to help you progress in life.
Yeah.
And I think certain point of self-love is understanding that, you know what, I have to be selfish and to understand and to know that I have to put myself first in any and every situation. I have to put myself first. Telling someone that, hey, listen, I'm more important than you doesn't necessarily mean that I don't love you or I don't see you as important. I just have to understand that my life is more important.
But the thing is, but nobody should ever take that to offense, though. People shouldn't take that to offense.
I told my girl the other day that, or just today, that I don't answer my phone or I don't text while I'm driving.
Yeah.
No one is that important.
Your life, 100%.
So I mean, I feel like I get what you're saying, but again, I like to challenge people. what if you're wrong? What if someone says,
You see what I'm saying?
Hold on. What if someone asks you for help, and you're saying, what's in it for me? What if there is absolutely nothing in it for you?
Literally zero.
There's zero in it.
And it's
Zero
all
in
for
it.
them.
It's all for them. How does but you feel like, are you
But
doing
you
a
have
good
to,
thing?
yes, no, okay, but you have to assess the situation and to see that, you know what, not to necessarily, I have to get something out of it, or you're gonna have to owe me down the road. You can always be a good Samaritan, but but if the situation is putting you at hindrance, if the situation is putting your character in jeopardy, if the situation is making you have to question yourself, making you have to question anything, if you have to stop and be like, maybe I shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do it.
So what type of situations?
Bank?
I have an example. Let's say you work a full week at work, and then the last day, the Sunday, the day of rest, your brother's like, "Yo, Kyle, oh, man, I need help moving." Tells you last minute, nobody else to help him move.
I'm gonna say, yo, my nigga, yellow pages. This is my day. This is my day.
You're the only man who can help him move.
But I get that.
I'm gonna say, yo, bro, you should have linked me from time.
Yes,
You shoulda
of
linked me from
course.
time. Now you're interrupting my day.
But at the same time, then you're gonna get accused of not being able to show up for other people.
Unfortunately, if I cannot be the best version of me,
Yeah.
I cannot offer you that version of me.
That makes sense. I'll give you that.
I can't give you me if I can't be the best version of me. I have to do the things that make me so that I can give you me.
Don't call this bad to help you.
Not last minute.
Moral of the story.
Not on a Sunday.
But why? But I don't understand though. Why is that not okay?
No.
It is.
The thing is, there's nothing.
I should know that. Yo, listen, Rob's with his daughter. Rob's driven his family. Like, I may need him to do something to to be on shit with Bear season. But I have to understand, the man has a family.
You don't want to take it from
But
his
see,
family.
I feel like that is a very slippery slope.
How so?
Because at the same time, sometimes you're gonna have to do things that
Understandably
you may
so.
not have time for. You just schedule
Understandably
it
so.
in your day, and I feel like at the same time, like you can't. There has to be some give. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not doing it because
I think-
I need it right. Like, I'll do it for you right now. But better believe when I need something and I call you up,
I think the
you
gift
better
should
be
come-
ready. It's go time.
I think the gift should
Straight
come
up.
at a place where you're able and ready to give.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not at a place where you can offer yourself to someone and offer your services to someone, then why do it? If I can't give you 100%, what am I gonna?
I get that.
I'm not gonna go and come give you 80.
Because maybe they need your 50.
See, and I think sometimes we get into that space where I may be going through something
Yeah.
and I'm dependent on you, but you're going through something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing,
And I think a lot of people don't realize. I think that's one of the one of the reasons why I kind of went through my own situation, where I felt like, you know what, other people are going through their own shit. No one has time for my shit. And I think that a part of that is self-love. It's understanding that, you should not have to depend on someone else, or you don't necessarily need someone else to help you get through what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good to have a friend to lean on. Yes, it's good to have someone to call. Yes, it's good to have someone to express things to, because that's very important,
Yeah.
being able to express the things that you're feeling. But at the same time, I think we are too dependent on the next man. We are too dependent on someone else's love for us to feel that self-gratification.
Yeah.
We're too dependent on
I think that's a great point. That we're too dependent on others to find love for ourselves or even value in ourselves.
Can I ask you guys a question, not to cut you off? Who builds confidence in you? You or someone else?
You.
You're in charge of that.
You sure?
No, I think it's both sides. I think it's both
Sure?
sides.
But that's what I'm saying.
Who makes
You're
you?
right.
Okay, but
no.
who
You're
makes
right.
you feel confident?
No, I'll be
Who makes you
honest.
feel
Who makes me
confident?
who makes me feel the most confident, to be honest, my closest friends, my wife and my daughter. Because not to say that my family or whatever doesn't make me feel confident as well, but when certain things are said from certain people, it builds you up because it's like my work is being appreciated. My efforts are being appreciated. The things that matter to me, which are my relationship with my family, my relationship with my child, are being appreciated, and that makes me now feel like the things that I'm doing are worth it, and that makes me feel better about myself.
Don't you think that's an issue?
That what?
That you need that?
No. It's not about needing it. But the thing is, those are the things. Like I said, that's a side of it where it comes from other people, right? For me, what helps me build my self-love, my self-confidence is doing what I say I'm going to do. Because behind closed doors, nobody sees that. That's a me thing, right? Setting out a goal and achieving that goal, right? Things that are completely dependent on me do make me more confident because it's
but that shouldn't be your self-love, though.
It's a part of it, though.
Not necessarily, my friend.
We're building confidence.
Not necessarily.
But it helps me build confidence because, okay,
Yeah,
for me,
but at the same time, but like, okay, say you set out goals, you don't achieve your goals. Are you?
no. But what it means is, okay, maybe I've fallen short, but then I have to identify. For me, it's not that it's not like I'm not achieving my goals, but it allows me to now identify and say, okay, this is where I've fallen short. Why did I fall short? And that's the important thing. Did I fall short because I was being lazy, because I was being unproductive, or whatever? Or did I fall short because of circumstances outside of my control? And the thing is, if I fell short, can I reevaluate this goal? How do I reevaluate this goal? How do I now put things into perspective? Maybe the goal was too big for me. And now it's like me saying, okay, don't be hard on yourself, readjust your goal. But the thing is, being able to achieve a goal is now going to let me say to myself, you know what? I can do anything, or I can do this.
Exactly what I was about to say. Let's take goals off the table because
Okay.
unfortunately, you have to have a level of confidence before you set your goals. Because if you don't have confidence before setting
You're
your
not
goals,
gonna
you're just writing shit down on paper.
Yep.
So then, let's look at it from either work or
Yeah.
and maybe we'll break it down from a.
I just want to know, at the basis of it, how do you store confidence in yourself? What is confidence?
Continuing to grow, constant
I
achievement.
feel like you gotta have people that believe in you. I see that every day through my. Hold on.
No,
I see that
listen.
every day in my profession. Kids that think I cannot do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the confidence in me to do something. But when someone shows you the way, someone shows you you can do it, how to do it, that kind of stuff builds confidence. It builds character.
Very true.
And then that way, your confidence is not relying on me anymore. Your confidence becomes in yourself because you know the way.
So great point. That's very true. But not all of us had that. Not everyone here at the table had that.
So are we saying nobody has mentors then? Are we saying people throughout life didn't have at least one mentor?
Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Not all of us did.
Kyle, have you learned anything from anybody else?
I have.
Then you have a mentor.
Not
Maybe not the
necessarily,
way
my
that
friend.
you envision.
Not
Maybe not the
necessarily,
traditional
my
Maybe
idea
not
of
the
a
way you
mentor.
envision.
friend. So,
But no. But look at it.
bending words.
No.
But I think growth. I'll look at it from the perspective of
My nigga,
how do you go from
no.
a bench player to a starting player?
Yo,
You have to
I can
consistently
watch you,
be
and
the
I can
person
learn
confident
things
to
from you,
shoot.
but that doesn't necessarily make you my mentor. I just learn things from you guys.
Okay.
But that's learning from somebody. I don't have to be a mentor because I'm always talking at you.
Okay.
You can watch me do something and say, oh, you know what? This guy does that. He puts in an hour to his craft.
We were discussing a few weeks ago about influence.
Yeah.
And we talked about mentors and how mentors can sometimes disappoint and break your character.
Yeah.
So now I go back and ask you guys again, how do you instill confidence in yourself? Let's not talk. If you're gonna say
By doing the work.
if you're gonna answer, if your answer is someone else or some individual or some other entity other than yourself, I don't think that's the right answer.
You got to do the work.
So
And I can see.
what's the right answer then?
In my honest opinion, I think it's understanding and accepting yourself.
Yeah.
Do you understand yourself perfectly at all times?
Exactly.
To a degree,
Because
yes.
then I'm asking, what is the point
To
of
a
therapy?
degree,
What is
yes.
the point of therapy?
Well, you go through a lot of self-searching over time.
Yeah.
What's the
These
point
are-
of what's the point of therapy?
But these are that's the whole point.
If
though.
people
I'd
understand
rather
themselves.
fail knowing that I trusted in myself and my own answers, and I listened to your advice.
I honestly think that it's a holistic approach, right? Like everybody has learned different ways, right? And whether it be through somebody personally actually coming and mentoring you, or if you learn from somebody from afar, right? Like your point of view is that like somebody else is here and you're depending on them for that, right? But that could be the case for somebody. I feel like it's circumstantial.
That's not
I feel
self-love.
like Nah, I feel like you're in
That's
charge.
not self-fam. That's
I
not
feel like
self-fam.
you're-
Okay, hold on. My question,
How's that
hold on.
sound,
My
man?
question to you is this: are you looking at every situation from the single same lens?
Right.
Because that's what it sounds like. Because you have to also understand, self-love for everybody is going to be very different. For even if, what do you mean? Of course, self-love is going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
Why would it be the same? No, hold on.
It's a
Hold on.
different experience, but it's the same damn shit.
No, is okay.
No.
Listen.
How many
Listen.
definitions
Hold
are
on.
there? Is there a pain in the
Listen.
dictionary?
Understand what I'm saying.
How many definitions of there is pain in the dictionary?
Understand.
Plenty. Mental,
different
physical,
types of
emotional.
Spiritual. Like,
Yeah, there's
But what
At the
I'm
end of the day, it's the same shit.
It's not the same feeling, though. It's not the same feeling, though.
But it comes in different
It's the
forms.
agony,
It
my
comes in
friend.
different
same
forms.
feeling.
Isn't that what I just said?
But everything is. That's what I say.
It's
Everything
still
is
agony,
circumstantial.
correct?
Listen, it's
Pain's
circumstantial.
still not agony?
Listen.
In different forms.
I've
Listen.
never seen pain feel sweet in my life.
So yo, hold on. What I'm trying to say
What
is
do you mean?
this.
That's why you have people with different fetishes.
Yeah.
There you go. How do you mean that?
Yeah, BDSM.
Listen, you have to understand, like,
Oh,
you know,
oh,
no,
oh,
listen,
That's
listen.
not. That's
No.
Another slippery slope.
No. What you have to understand is this: the way that I see self-love, we literally established already at this table that we all see self-love differently. So you can't say that we see self-love different, we see love different, we see self-hate different, we see all these things differently. I may hate a man, and to me, hate is taking a man off the face of the earth. For you, hate is just deleting a man from your existence. For somebody else, hate is making sure that man's whole family suffers. For whatever reason, everybody feels things differently. So for self-love, it's the same idea. I can love myself. For me, loving myself could be, for me, buying a fresh pair of Jordans every month to remind myself that I have the ability to walk around, put these shoes on my feet, and feel good about myself. That could be it for me. But for the next man, it could be making sure that he has a certain amount of money in his bank account. Or it could be making sure that he's achieved a certain amount of the goals that are set on his list. Everybody is going to have a different idea of what it is. So it is very unfair for you to sit here and say there's only one way to love or self-love or
I
any
didn't
of
say that. I didn't say that. I just said self-love is not contingent on others.
And that's fine. But the thing is, if it isn't contingent on others, for somebody who maybe bases their maybe somebody who is maybe a mother, for example. Let's look at an example of a woman who is a mother, who is a wife, who is all of these things. She may feel as though a lot of her existence and her self-love comes from the relationship she has with her children, with her spouse, or whatever the case is. If that's what that is for her, and her making sure that her children achieve certain goals is what gives her self-love because she knows that she did a good job raising them, how are we to say that that's not true self-love? Because in the same breath, self-love to her can also be making sure that, you know, she has a certain amount of money in her bank account, or that her bathroom is clean, and that her feminine hygiene is on point. For some people, that's what it is. No, dead ass. But these are things that what's important to me is not going to be important to you. What's important to you is not going to be important to me. And we have to understand that what we hold to a degree of importance is going to have a different outcome of what our self-love looks like. So we can't, for you, it is what it is for you. For me, it is what it is for me. But if you tell me what can deter self-love is just like what you said. If you tell me, yo, this is what I do to love myself, and I tell you that's silly, that's stupid, that's corny. Now that can change your whole idea and perspective of how you feel about your self-love, and you can feel bad about yourself about that. So I think that it's important to make people understand that, yo, me and you don't have to see eye to eye, or we don't have to be on the same page about this thing, but that doesn't mean that it's not valid for you. See what I'm saying?
So, I mean, I see both points because at the same time I see Kyle's point where it's like, you know, I'm looking at it like a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you're going to need, you know, love from others to really understand who you are, what your role is, what you mean to yourself. But in Kyle's point at the same time, I also agree that, like, you got to know who you are. And it can't always 100% be based on others because then you end up losing yourself.
I told
100%.
I told an ex-girlfriend, it's not my job to instill confidence in you.
I don't know.
And she looked at me like I was a piece of shit. And if you understand that, it's not my job to instill confidence in you. Because then you're just going to be going from, if this doesn't work out, so what happened to your confidence? Is it gone? Or are you going from person to person looking for them?
So can I ask a question? Why does it feel good being with a partner?
What do you mean? Explain that.
If it's not your job to put confidence in someone? If it's not your job, what is it your job to even love them? How do you love them then?
Can I add to that question? You said it's not your job to instill confidence, though, right? Do you feel like it's part of your job
To maintain it,
to nurture it?
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. But to actually put it there and give it to you and to make you feel as if you're someone, I can't do that for you. I shouldn't be the one to do that for
I agree with
you.
that.
You should be the one to do that for you.
Okay.
100%.
I agree with that.
100%.
My thing is, I feel like at the end of the day, holistically, you are the manager of your confidence, right? The manager of your self-love. So that means holistically, who you around, who you allow people to influence you, how you allow these people to influence you, and why they're around you.
I think even that is
But that's part of
a
self-love
certain
too.
level of self-love. You should be able to manage around any type of personality or individual or person or situation. If you tease me, if you get on my back, yeah, it's gonna hurt. But my self-love says you can't break me because I know
Okay.
who I am.
Yeah, but I think I want to run with that management point because, as we all know, sometimes we are not always the best at managing ourselves. Sometimes people see things in us that we can't see in ourselves.
Right.
Now, is that part of the self-love conversation, or is it just something completely separate? It actually goes kind of back to the point of, can others instill a self-love in you?
I think
Because
others-
I don't think we've gone deep enough with that.
I think others. Sorry, I think others can help you get to the point where to make you realize your level of self-love. In terms of maybe I don't love myself. And you know how you may be going through someone and someone's just pouring into you, and you just not receiving it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'd say that it can definitely be one of those things where you could not be loving yourself, and somebody close to you is seeing it from the outside looking in and saying you're not taking care of yourself. You're not doing certain things for yourself. You need to do, or they start to do these things for you in hopes that you will realize this is what you need to do for yourself. Because I remember at a point with me and my wife when we were still dating, it was like I was always on the go. 7 days a week, I was working, I was running a business, I was being a dad, I was being an employee, I was being a brother, uncle, cousin, all that stuff. I was literally doing everything for everybody but myself. So for me at the time, I wasn't showing myself a lot of self-love. But then it took my wife and obviously my girlfriend at the time to be like, hey, you know what? Like, you haven't done this in a long time. This is what you enjoy doing. You haven't done this in a long time. This is what you enjoy doing. I'm going to do this for you because you used to do this until you got too busy. And then it kind of got to a point where it was for me, it was like, I'm not doing the things for me that I love anymore. I'm not doing the things that bring me happiness. And it did take her showing me that, like, yo, when was the last time you did this? And I was like, oh, shoot, I haven't done that in like a year. And it took that, me saying it out loud to be like, wow, I'm not taking good enough care of myself. And in my head, it's like, I'm doing my job, which is being a dad, being a husband, being a this, being a boyfriend, being whatever, being an employee, being a business owner. But I wasn't being good to myself because all those things that I was doing was to achieve, like, kind of to your point, was to achieve certain goals, was to achieve certain things. But I had to realize that I didn't want those things at a certain time for me. I just wanted them because it made me feel better about life or what I was doing. And then I had to realize this has to be about me. I have to want to do this for my own outcome. And that's why I feel like the other people's side is important to an extent, but it can't be everything because people will disappoint you. People will fail you. People will leave your life, and you will have to remove people from your life. And when doing those things, you have to be able to say, I still love myself. Yeah. Just because, right? Like, let's say your mother is a person who always pours into you, always shows you how to love yourself. My mother's gone. I still have to be able to love myself. Yeah. If my wife leaves me, I still have to be able to love myself. So that's why I believe wholeheartedly that it does matter about your relationships, but also the relationship you have with yourself.
Sorry not to cut you. So, first of all, shout out to your wife. Like that's amazing. But the thing is, like, you chose her, right? Mm-hmm. You chose her to be in your life, and you chose her for a reason, for that specific reason too, because she has those qualities that help to nurture what you already have, right? So that goes exactly back to my point. You managed, right, your self-love, your confidence levels, right? Even when you were at a low point, you had somebody in your life, like you said, right, to help you through that. You get the point.
So,
It's almost sorry. The only thing I'll say is it's almost like the idea, the mentality of it takes a village to raise a child.
Word.
I don't think that anybody gets to a point of success, to a point of complete self-love without some assistance. Not saying it has to all come from them, right? But some sort of assistance, because even people who are loners, who don't depend on anybody for anything, there is something that is attached to another being or something that will add to them. It won't be all of them, but it will add to them. And I think that's what we have to remember. Others are supposed to add to us. They shouldn't be all of us. My whole identity shouldn't be a father. My whole identity shouldn't be a brother. My whole identity shouldn't be a son. That's part of who I am. You see what I'm saying? But it should never be my entire encompassing of who I am. And I think that's where some people get lost. Especially when you think this is what I'm supposed to do. Honestly, like, there's too many I'm supposed to's in life. You gotta live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what you guys have really provided is like, you have to have, at the base level, you have to have a blueprint of knowing how to make yourself happy.
So
I think just a blueprint of knowing yourself.
Yeah, knowing yourself, how to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
And when others pour something into you, it's just a bonus.
Exactly.
And I mean, I think, I really connected with your story, Rob, because that's something I feel like I do at all times. Like, I'm on the go and I'm doing everything for everybody else, whether it's my students, whether it's my family, whether it's my partner. I feel like I'm a giver. And, it's actually become part of my identity, but, it's looking back and understanding that it gets to a point where that stops being self-love for me. It gets to a point where that stuff no longer makes me feel happy, because I feel like at times there's nobody pouring into me. I can pour all the love and confidence I want into everybody else. And, it makes me feel good. But at the same time, like, if you're not getting anything in return, or you feel like you're giving more of yourself, or, it's very stressful. And that's a conversation I actually had with my family members, my partners recently. I said, I have nothing left to give. I'm tired. And it's a matter of, I don't give myself breaks. I feel like, as you said, I have goals. I reach these goals, and then it becomes, for me, so detrimental to reach so many goals and put your everything into it for everybody else, where you forget, you check it off and you're like, oh, what's next? Oh, you check it off, what's next? And it becomes really, really tough to really maintain your level of self-love and maintain that level of self-confidence that you were speaking about. So
that's my question for you guys. What do you do, or what your practices, your habits to express your own self-love, or to what do you do to keep your self-love up? Like, for me, I'm very meticulous. I'm very when I come home, I like to game for a bit and to relax. And if I don't get to do that, I feel miserable. Because to me, that's it's what helps me to relax. It's what helps me to love me. And sometimes my partner doesn't understand when I just want to be alone and game for a good 2 hours, because I need to be me. If I can't be me, you're not gonna have me. You're just gonna have a miserable man walking around the house all day.
Yeah. I love that point, and the reason why I love that point is when the pandemic started, I'm not a gamer by any means, but when the pandemic started, there's no football, there's no sports, there's no nothing. I needed that. I'm a competitive. Every man knows I'm a competitive man, and I started playing Call of Duty, heavy. And my wife was really irritated in the beginning, because she's like, "We've been together all these years. You don't do this. Now all of a sudden you want to play game for hours." She's like, "What is it? What is this about?" And I'm like, I had to really break down to her what helped me with self-love before, what made me was getting out on the football field, competing, coaching, competing, getting with my mans and just competing with it, whatever it was. Competition helped me. And when there was none of that, when the pandemic started, I said, yo, Call of Duty is the only way I can be competitive. I'm trying to get a dub. And like, she eventually had to realize he needs this, because when she would complain about me playing, I'll turn off the game, I'll turn off the PS4, and I'll sit in the cut like, what do you want me to do now? I'm not happy, because I was just doing what was making me happy, and you didn't want, and then we had to come to a place where she realized, you know what? He needs this. Like, he needs this couple hours a day to get with his brethren, to get out his frustrations, to get competitive, and then he's him again. And I think it's super important that we communicate these things effectively to our partners, to our families, to let them know, I need this. Like, this is what I need to help me be me. And when you take this away from me, I'm not the same man. And when we can communicate that, I think it means, I think it really, really makes the difference.
Yeah. I'd say working on myself. I'd say like hitting the gym, like treating your body like a temple. To go back to your point when it comes to sports and competitiveness, like when you work, we all do it. You work out and then you go look in the mirror. Why are you looking in the mirror? Because you're like, I'm that dude. You know what I mean? You're like, all right. And as you continue to work out and keep your temple where it's at, you continue to just like work. And then you could tell, we spoke about it earlier, your clothes fit you different. You walk in the room different. People demand a different respect when you're.
Oh, you lost
People like the world treats you different, but that's just more so because they see you putting the work into yourself.
Yep.
Right. So for me, that's what it was. It's just never letting myself get to a point where I physically don't feel like myself. Right. And if my best self is me being in shape or me being able to run or me being able to do these things, then so be it. But then I also found that it helps my mental. Right, and then it allows me to work better. I feel smarter. I can, you know what I mean, comprehend things better. So I feel like for me, it's balancing out the physical and the mental, and working on that constantly.
Oh, you go with me? Me, I value alone time. Whether it be just literally just chilling, taking a nap, or watching a TV show for a couple of hours or something, jumping on Netflix. I like my alone time. It kind of gets me into like a zen point. I'm just chilling. Maybe even think about my day, what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like how think about how I'm feeling too. You know what I mean? Okay, what do I need to change? Things like that. You know what I mean? Or what did I do well? You know what I mean? Stuff like that, and just cooling out. That's just
I think it's important to piggyback up for your alone time. Alone time is very important, and I think not just alone time, but doing things on your own, going to the movies. People think it's weird to go to the movies by yourself. Yeah, I used to go to the movies by myself all the time.
Same.
I remember that. I remember that.
All the time.
I think you put me onto that, yo. I just smoke a thing and just chill. Just sit there in the seats and do bars.
By myself.
And just chill.
My mother used to offer people beside me candy and popcorn. Yeah, I used to eat at restaurants by myself.
Yeah.
You feel no way. I feel like a boss.
Yep.
The eating I used to do by myself for sure.
Leave the bottle.
You know? Don't feel afraid to do things by yourself. I used to go on hikes by myself.
That's true.
I used to do things by myself.
That's a great point because you never want your entire identity to be based off your relationship with others. Like I said earlier, it's a part of it, but that can't be your whole identity. Your whole thing can't, like you said, if I want to eat, I can't say to myself, yo, I can't go eat at a restaurant unless I have a guest. No, I should be able to eat. The movie theaters I've never done, but it's true. You should be able to enjoy a movie by yourself, regardless of if it's in public or in private, because you have to be able to be comfortable with self. And I think that's a big thing. Comfortability with self. Because like for me, like growing up, I was the only boy out of 4 kids. I had 3 older sisters. So for me, I did spend a lot of time by myself. But as I got older, it allowed me to be able to understand that I need that. And when I have that, that's when I can really say, okay, who are you really? Because when you're out in front of everybody, yeah, you're a personable guy, you're a fun-loving guy, you're a guy that can be funny, you're a guy that can, you light up the room, all that. But when you're by yourself, do you still have these same qualities? Are you still you without this?
Jokes all the time, man.
And you have to. You have to.
Yo, you have to. Back in the day, there always be that man be like, yo, what's the move? Yo, what's the move tonight? Be like, nothing, bro. Like, we're chilling. And he'd call like 6, 7 men and be like, yo, what's the move? So we all used to do it at one point, but it was like, yo, what's the move?
Yeah, there's a point.
Yo, what's the move? Yo, what's my man saying tonight? You're like,
and now I learn like, yo, I wake up,
do it yourself.
Fam. And the thing is, because, and I think as we get older, we.
We're gonna sugar us tonight. This nigga. You guys say we're gonna sugar us tonight.
And then you have the Mandem. Yo, Mandem, what's good? What's some? And it's true though. And then I think one big thing is, and one of the kind of, I guess, main points that I kind of wanted to make is, as you get to that point where you can, as you get older, I think you start to realize and appreciate your own quality time. You start to appreciate, hey, you know what? This time is, whether it's self-improvement, whether it's mental stability, whether it's just self-love, whatever the case is, you have this now. you have this moment, and you understand that you need it. Because like you said, when we were younger, it's every Friday a motive. When I start to spend Fridays by myself watching the cooking channel, learning the 1-2 skills,
nice.
fam, I'm
So
watching
nice.
Beat Bobby Flay
So
from
nice.
from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m.
Blue Night movies. Latin lovers. Talk about self-love.
So it was a different Friday. Those Fridays
But-
alone were
The epitome
different.
of self-love.
But
After the baby blue.
2 o'clock? 2 o'clock, 35?
Oh, man can't sleep. I can't sleep.
Self-love.
But fact of the matter is, that is important. No matter what anybody
Yeah.
says, you have to have that alone time. You have to be able to find your worth and your value without others. But there's nothing wrong with others contributing to that. That's how I feel.
Is that marriage though? Is that what we call it when you find that person that you're like, I'm cool with being alone, you're cool with being alone, but we enjoy
We
each
know
other?
that together we're better. I think it is a little bit more than that, which is,
Yeah.
I think, a different conversation. We should definitely talk about marriage at some point. But I think that in general, it's something that from a like loving yourself perspective, it is something that we need to be able to do. We have to be able to be comfortable alone, because when you're comfortable alone, it means, because at the end of the day, nobody is always going to be there.
Right.
There's not a single person on the planet that's going to be there from the moment you are birthed to the moment you die. So you have to learn to be comfortable by yourself, because if you can't, you're always going to look for relationships to make you whole, and you got to be whole on your own.
That's right.
Everything else should just be an additive.
100%. 100%.
And I mean, I'm glad you guys touched on all those points and we got into, the Latin lover. I mean, 35,
El Latino.
Channel 7.
Real times.
Whatever you gravitated towards.
Yeah, whatever's your poison.
I feel like, this is such an important conversation because, recently I feel like personally for me, I've been struggling through that, especially with the pandemic and, staying at home and finding out, things about myself that I like and that I love, other things that I'm like, don't like so much.
But that's a big part of self-love. It's really digging to find those traits that that are good and bad.
Yeah.
And really addressing them and facing them.
Yeah, I think, part of what's helped me is understanding, I used to run away from my love of nature. I used to be like, it's not a thing, black people really do. We're not in nature like that. But, I realize it's something that really helps me connect.
Yep.
And reconnect and find, the appreciation that, outside of work, outside of, family, life is beautiful. And it helps me realize that, everything in nature has a specific purpose. And everything in nature, is there by design. So I'm there by design. I have no choice but to love myself because I'm in this body for life.
100%.
It's a commitment for life. So, I really did, on a personal level, really, really appreciate this conversation and all the insight because, it's helped me along the way. Any parting thoughts, any final words?
I guess just ways that you can continue or just different ways that you can continue to grow upon your own self-love, I guess would be a question I would ask to you guys.
Honestly, I think
Or what would you tell someone looking for self-love?
my biggest thing would be make sure that you're as comfortable by yourself as you are around others. As long as you are comfortable, the person you look at in the mirror when it's just you, make sure you're that comfortable as a person you are outside when others are giving you praise or others are acknowledging you. Be comfortable in both areas because that's for me, that matters. Whether you're by yourself or you're not, you got to be able to love yourself and be comfortable with yourself.
I'd say give yourself the same amount of time that you give others. Like you look at your calendar, if your calendar's stacked and none of that's for yourself, maybe you got to reevaluate your calendar. Give yourself that same time. Same way our work tells us to take a break, give yourself a break. You know what I mean? Same way that we have to be here and do this. What about that thing that you want to do, that you want to go there and be? You know what I mean? Give yourself and make time in your schedule for yourself. Even if it's just blocking off a day where you literally just don't do nothing. You cancel all the plans and you just sit around, like you said, and just watch some TV. That's what makes you feel better. Do it, but blocking off time for yourself.
I would say, like, cause we talk about like a lot of healthy self-love, but like sometimes, what about the people that really don't know how to do it? You know what I mean? Or don't have the motivation to actually go ahead and do it. What if they've been through a certain situation or circumstance where it's just like, you know, I don't really know how to, you know, figure this out, right? I'm in a crossroads. I would say to them, like, for real, like, don't be ashamed to go and get some help. You know what I mean? Don't be ashamed to go and figure it out, because at the end of the day, like I said before, you are the manager of yourself,
Or
of your
even
confidence.
don't be ashamed of what you're going through.
Right.
Don't be ashamed of the issues that you have. Everyone has scars, everyone has issues, and I think we should be proud of our scars and we should be proud of our issues because it's what makes us who we are. And for me, I would say understanding that you are the most important person in your life. You can be a dad, you can be a brother, you can be a police officer, you can be fucking president of the United States. None of that matters. You are the most important person in your life. And if you cannot be you for you, then you cannot be you for anyone else.
And then I would say just understand yourself outside of external gratification. You know, and go get therapy, go seek help. You know, one person can do a great job at digging. You know, two people can do much better. So I think that's what I'll leave off at. And you know, again, appreciate each of you guys being here. Appreciate each of your thoughts on the topic of self-love. And if you people in the audience have anything to comment, please share, please post, please comment. This is Conversations Over Dinner with the team. Kyle, Rob, take it away.
Mandem, as always, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you chopping it up with us. If you have any questions, if you ever want us to cover a topic, please let us know. We're here for the people at the end of the day. Kyle, take us away.